You're listening to the Rebel Scum podcast.
You are always scum.
Rebel Scum.
From odds making to list rankings, we've got you covered. And don't forget to join us on Patreon for early access and exclusive content. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
Hey James, I've got one of those questions about like Star Wars that like similar to, I think I said this before, they need to decide when you shoot like the door opener panel in like a ship or in a battle station. If you shoot it and it explodes, the door's open. It can't be both because sometimes you shoot it and it stays closed. Like one of the, but here's the other thing. I think I noticed it when I rewatched Clone Wars. When they have those holo communicators, I don't know what is the proper word for the like when they talk to each other.
Hologram?
Through hologram, but like, do they have a word for it? Like communicator, I guess, or that sounds like Star Trek.
Oh, if we had a live chat, Real Farm Boy would have the answer for us, but I do not know. Communicator. Hologram.
You notice it a lot more in Clone Wars because they're constantly talking to each other. And I think you notice it the most when someone's talking to Yoda because it's basically, you know, they look at something or it's on their wrist and the person, it's like, you know, it's Princess Leia at the beginning where she's like, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's supposed to be like kind of looking into the camera, which I think that kind of works the way it looks. But with Yoda, it's always like he's talking to someone in his hand saying, maybe he's holding a thing or it's just in front of him. He's looking at it. But then like then when you go to the person he's talking to, wherever they are, he's always looking up like this, but he's never actually looking up in like, you know what I mean? I'm like, somebody has to figure this out. In a world where we all know how to zoom, where we look straight at the thing.
Nope, no, you're wrong. Everybody on Zoom's like this.
What was that, Georgie?
But most of them know to put it on that Amazon box that you haven't thrown out. That's something I was just like,
yeah,
this doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense, but that's the same with Maz Kanata in The Last Jedi. We're like, where's the camera? Does she have like a drone?
Yes,
like it's like
exactly.
BD1 is her holo communicator, and it follows her around wherever she needs the camera to be. And that's it doesn't make any sense, and that's why it's not science fiction; it's fantasy.
Science fiction.
Yeah.
Rebel Scum podcast.
I'm James.
I'm Brock.
Welcome.
You're James.
Welcome. We got to wrap this up in an hour because I have to watch Thumb War episode 2. I'm not in Thumb War episode 2, but I think it's the best one because I'm not in it. Anyway, the live chat's happening at 7, so I have to go on that, Brock. So we have to wrap this up. Thank you. May the force of others be with you.
Okay, bye.
It's the quickest whatever. Actually, but in all honesty, May the 4th brought us some really cool Star Wars news.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, let's get into Star Wars Gallery, The Mandalorian. No, Disney Gallery, Star Wars The Mandalorian. Is that what it's called?
Is it a colon or a hyphen?
There's just a lot of title in that title. So I think Gallery is going to be an ongoing show about behind the scenes of shows. But this one is on the Mando, which we were both super excited to watch. You watched it immediately, and I waited. I watched it in 2 separate halves. I watched the first 22 minutes, and then I watched the final 8 minutes 2 days later, because that's how I roll. That's how I do things. But let's give a full-on review of it. I thought the story was weak, and the characters were just okay. What'd you think of the show?
I liked it. It's neat to see the behind-the-scenes stuff. I think I like the part seeing Filoni directing. I can't remember what episode it is, but it's like the Mando in his ship and all that, and you get to see how. I mean, it's not overly surprising. It's not like there's an actual full ship they're sitting in. We know how they shoot that stuff, but it's always neat to see. Like it's always interesting, the process. But yeah, I think it was an important episode because perhaps maybe not for people like us, but other people that are like, oh, what's this? I like The Mandalorian. And now they can learn about all these directors they might have never actually heard of. I mean, I think Taika Waititi is a fairly popular director right now, but I think he's still in that realm of indie director that like, who dis?
Yeah, I think Thor Ragnarok, people like it, but I don't think they're like, oh, that guy. Like, I don't think it is that. Maybe from him winning an Oscar, people might recognize him from there a little bit. But yeah, I think you're right. The one thing that really stuck out to me that hadn't before was Dave Filoni directed the very first episode, which we all know. Mm-hmm. But think about this. Dave Filoni was the person that they put at the helm of the very first ever live action Star Wars TV show, aside from the holiday special. The very first live action Star Wars series was helmed by Dave Filoni. I think that's actually bigger than we're all giving it credit for.
Yeah. It's it's like, this is a huge deal when you really boil it down. And like, it makes sense. Because though like a lot of people haven't really watched Clone Wars or Rebels or what have you, it's like, he's got a track record. So it's so funny when you watch this thing where it's sort of like, he's just excited to be there. Mm-hmm. But in a sense, he knows more about Star Wars than Favreau ever will.
It's like George Lucas directing Star Wars, where you're like, oh yeah, it's the guy, like a Phantom Menace. It's George Lucas is directing. He did American Graffiti and A New Hope 25 years ago, whatever. Like, that's what Filoni is, though. It's like, no one needs to know who Filoni is. No. They know what Star Wars is already, and he knows what he's doing in that world enough that no one cares. In a good way. I mean that respectively. Where he is I just thought that it was very poignant that he was the one that actually spearheaded this thing. He's the one that got the ship going in the right direction. He starts it all off, and is the one of those directors, maybe not the most talented of all those directors, probably the least the least experienced anyway of all of those directors at live action. Maybe Bryce Dallas Howard's on the same level with the resume there, but he knows Star Wars more than all of those individuals combined.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they spend so much time in that episode just like, this is why this person is doing this movie. This is why this person's doing this episode, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I like the part with Bryce Dallas Howard. It's sort of like, I was born into this. Yeah. So it's like, she's like, I went to Japan with my father. Have you heard? His name is Ron Howard. He was with, who was it, like Spielberg or something like that? Oh no, it was like George Lucas.
Yeah, it was George Lucas, Ron Howard, and Kurosawa. And,
Kurosawa. Like, she's just like flexing.
I know.
Like, fantastic.
I get it. But I was just, her resume is not, directing wise, isn't massive. It was they bring that up. They're like, we wanted a first timer to do this episode.
But it was a cool episode because it's like, it felt like Lord of the Rings, where it's like the Fellowship of the Six.
Well, I'm super excited to see the making of that episode.
The making of?
Yeah. No, like, just because in this one, the DP kind of comes on for a second, because this is all about directors, this first episode. And he's like, this episode was interesting because it was a lot of greenery and it was very different. And I told you before we recorded, I cannot wait to see the episodes of this series that delve into the LED screens, but also that world, because, sometimes like a lot of LEDs and then all of a sudden you're like, they're in the forest and there's just massive blue screens. And like, oh, that's why they go, like, I'm just, for me personally, it's just like, well, why did they choose one over the other for that? And what is that? And what is that? And the whole, and that one seems like a very different location from everywhere else.
Yeah, it's true. Everything felt like it was in the desert.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they go to Tatooine at one point, but like, yeah, it all just seems like you're in a desert or like, I don't know what they're called, like canyon or something like that.
Yeah, like junky.
All the same. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a great idea. I don't know. I think you're right. I think they'll do other movies on this too, but I don't know exactly. I guess a lot of the Marvel stuff could fit on this.
Yeah.
On
I don't think
Disney
they're rushing to bring the series out. I think, the Marvel stuff,
No.
the big shows with big productions and vibrant sets and all of that. I think that's what we'll get. So yeah, the Marvel shows, the Star Wars shows, stuff like that. We will, and I love this stuff. So I was saying, bring it. It's basically the DVD featurettes that we're not getting because we're not getting DVDs of these things.
Yeah, it's smart. It's it's amazing. Like recently, they just put out these documentaries where they have tons and tons of footage, and it's like, why do you do this? And it's like, oh, because someone's gonna be interested in something at some point. Like it's like I'm watching the Last Dance documentary on Michael Jordan. I'm not a sports person, but I'm really engrossed in the series. It's just like, how do you have this much footage?
That's before it was convenient to get footage.
Yeah. It's and then I think about it, like, because that's kind of the background we're from. It's like, so you went and shot all that stuff, and I'm sure it's gotten used at some point. A lot of it is just like the national recordings of these baseball games, basketball games, like. But it's like a lot of it's shot around Michael Jordan in 97. Yeah, it's like and it comes out in 2020. It's like, imagine having to shoot all that stuff. I'm sure everyone got paid, but it's like, to shoot all that stuff, and then the documentary doesn't even come out till like 20 years later. It's like, wow.
People have a lot of time on their hands getting these footage. It was probably shot for something else. It was probably shot to use for something else, and then
that's true.
They were like, we have this footage. We have the footage. Let's use it.
Perhaps they're like, part of the agreement was like, we'll do this, but we can't use it for like 20 years or whatever, right? So like all the players involved and all the people can like not be affiliated with the NBA anymore. Or they shoot their mouths off.
Yeah, seriously. I haven't watched that yet, obviously. I spent too much time watching Extraction and Parasite.
Not a bad series. It's episodic, so
yeah,
you don't have you week to week sort of thing.
It's week to week on Netflix?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know Netflix did that. I thought they were all at once.
They do.
Oh, is it airing on TV somewhere? Like on traditional?
Yes,
okay, that's
what.
All right, okay.
Yeah. ESPN.
It's ESPN. Okay, yeah. I thought it was, but I like week to week more than binging. I've said that before. I can't binge to save my life. I am terrible at. Aaron, we'll watch a show. Aaron and I'll watch a show. She's like, the next episode. I'm like, really? And this is like stuff that's on TV with PVR. And I'm like, I can't do it. Can we just like do something else for a while? Mandalorian though, I did get sucked into watching. Yeah. I said I wouldn't, and like within a week, I had watched all of it. It was like, oh my god! I just, if I like something, I guess I can binge, but for the most part, I don't. Even McMillions, which I really really enjoyed, I didn't really. It was weekly, but I came in late. I still didn't watch it all at once. I still took my time.
Yeah.
I'm a The thing I hate about binging, to be honest, is one of my favorites. Stranger Things comes out. Season 2, I was in Vancouver when it dropped. Season 3 was this year, and I think Aaron was in the hospital. So it was literally like, they come out, and I'm like, well, I don't have time to watch it. And then you watch it, and everybody else watches it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, now I've got to avoid everybody and everything until I get to sit down and watch it. And not only is it like just watch an episode, it's like I've got to watch now 8 hours worth of TV before I can even look at you in the face, because you're just like, the Demogorgon. I'm like, oh, what'd you say? That's the thing I hate about binging the most is like I kind of miss the water. Like even the Mandalorian coming out once a week, it's like I wish it dropped at like 1 p.m. on a Friday, not midnight, but that's actually 3 a.m. but it's 12 a.m. in the West Coast. But it's like, put it at like if it was just like a time, you're like, this is gonna drop at 1 p.m., 7 p.m. Fridays, we could all watch it together.
Prime time.
Yeah, we all watch it. We know when it's coming, so there's no chance of really being spoiled at 6:15 in the morning. And that was annoying, man. I'd be going to work. I'm like, oh look, Mandalorian spoilers. I haven't even woken up yet. thank you for that. And then I have to watch it before work and stuff. But yeah, I think I don't know what we're talking about. Michael Jordan, though, I'll probably check that documentary out because I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. I had Jordans growing up, and I had his jersey also. That's right. I got to see him play live at the Sky Dome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've seen him, Magic Johnson. Yeah, I got to see some cool people. When the Raptors were like, nobody liked the Raptors.
Yeah.
I went. I remember my first tickets for the Raptor game. My dad got me these tickets. They were $75. He won them from work. He's like, I don't want to go. You go. He gave me these tickets. I was like 16, 17, whatever. I think the Raptors were only like a year or two old at that point. And Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers. And I was like, I gotta go. And we were like 4 rows up from floor seats. $75. Nice. Could you imagine today?
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous. And now people
we paid $75 for 4 people to go see Star Wars.
Exactly. It's not that cheap. But nobody went to the Raptors games back then. And the Sky, I don't know if you ever saw it in the Sky Dome, but they used to, because the Sky Dome was so massive. Yeah, they used to like block off like half of it. You couldn't see it. It was awesome. And now people like the Raptors and you can't go. So there you go. The last time I went to a Raptor game a couple of years ago, and it was $10 to upgrade your seats from nosebleeds to 100 level. Then they won a championship.
Those days are gone.
Thanks, Kawhi. Thank you. Thanks for ruining everything. Taika Waititi going from Mandalorian to movie. Brock, we kind of talked about this on Monday when it was announced, but now you've had time to let it sink in. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm down with it. I feel like I won't get excited till I see a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's
fair
thing to
fair.
say, but it's this just feels like the announcement of Weiss and Benioff doing a Star Wars thing. This is Feige doing a thing. Like it's like I think get Taika Waititi because he knows how to make some interesting movies. That's great, and I'm not trying to poo-poo that, but like it's like, can we just not make massive amount? I mean, yes, it was May 4th, so we want info. We want Star Wars. We just want Star Wars content, but it's just like I don't know. And the same with like Leslie Headland, where it's like she made that thing that you like. And I get that's how business works, but it's just sort of like stuff like that I just try not to get too excited about, because I don't think Taika Waititi is gonna bail, but like until the movie comes out, it feels, especially in the last few years, it's just like, oh, no one's a guarantee at this point.
I think the only thing that really makes me feel better about all of this in comparison to what you just said, because you brought up great points. And I never thought about the Feige. I forgot about the Feige announcement.
Yeah, remember Feige?
Yeah. I think that
I'm sure he's still doing something, but
I that's what I think. But I think he's busy. And I think he just wants to do a Star Wars movie, and he will do it. Yeah. I think the one difference between all that and this is the Thor movie is the one wrench in it for me, because he's got to finish Thor Love and Lovelier. What is it called? Love and Thunder, which I'm excited for. I loved Ragnarok. I didn't even like Thor, and then I kind of like Thor 2 better. And then Ragnarok, I'm a huge Hulk fan, and Ragnarok, I was like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And I rented Thor Ragnarok on Apple TV, iTunes, and so when you rent something, you know how it is. You get 48 hours, right? So you rent it, you hit play, you get 48 hours. I had it for over a week. They just never got rid of it. I was like, well, I'm just going to keep watching it until it goes. And when I watched it almost every day for a week, and I loved it. It was great. Now it's on Disney Plus. I think it was on. But I love that movie. For me though, the difference between Feige and this is he is already in the Star Wars family with the Mandalorian. Right, doing the last episode of Mandalorian and being IG-11. For me, that is the one big. So he's got to do Love Larok, and then when he's done that, that's when he'll work it. So the problem with this Corona thing is who knows when he'll be able to finish. Has he even started Love LaRock? I'm calling it Love LaRock.
I know he was working on it.
Oh, he's working on the script. I think you said this last week. Yeah. So there's supposed to be a movie in 2022. Has that, like, they still haven't removed it, but I just feel like if he's doing Thor 4, which will come out in probably the same year as 2022, right? Like, I can't see it coming out much earlier than that. It takes time. These things are, because he's got, like, and then he's going to do that. So I don't really, okay, the year, who cares? But it's still, it feels more real because he's associated with Star Wars already, but it feels premature because he still has it's not like he's doing an indie film right now. It's not like it's like, well, he's going to finish up editing Jojo Rabbit. It's like, no, he's got to write and direct and edit Thor 4. And like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a massive process. Mm-hmm. And unless he's doing what Spielberg did with Jurassic Park and has George Lucas take over the editing of Jurassic Park while he goes to do a Schindler's List, I don't know when he's going to start this project. And that's the one. But he is writing it with 1917 writer. I can't remember her name. I haven't seen 1917. Have you?
No, I want to, though. I was just looking at it, too. But here's the thing, too. You make a really good point. But has it been announced that he is the next movie?
No. That's the thing. But like, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's one thing that's annoying me is like you've said there's a 2022 movie, but but if you haven't, okay. So Leslie Headland is doing a series on Disney Plus. Taika Waititi is doing a show, and I believe J.D. Dillard is also doing a series. And then you have the Feige thing. And Rian Johnson is, I think, just out of the equation for now. For now, at least. Maybe not for good, but for now, there's no Rian Johnson. He's got his Knives Out 2. And, like, he's not anywhere near the Star Wars universe at the moment. So how the hell does this 2022 release date stay intact?
I don't know, man.
Why have it? Like, sorry, Brock.
Yeah.
I understand they're like, well, we got to put the dates out there so that nobody comes in. First of all, you're Star Wars. The only thing that is going to land on a Star Wars date that will affect Star Wars is like a Marvel movie. And guess what? You're Disney. You're not going to do that. Like, you did that with Solo to a degree in Infinity War. You're not going to do anything like that again. So why even, like, I don't know. Just if you don't tell me there's a Star Wars movie coming out, and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, there's a Star Wars movie coming out. It's called Star Wars: The Last Revenge. It's directed by Taika Waititi, and it's coming out and all of a sudden, I'm like, well, everything makes sense now because I have a title, I have a director, I have a movie. Right now, it's like you said, they just keep announcing these things, and it's like, well, what's the point?
Yeah. But I'm on a weird fence. It's like, now that we're just sitting at home twiddling our thumbs, this is perfect time to like think up, hatch projects, and just.
Oh, I agree.
You have the time to like, okay, Taika Waititi is going to have 2 major motion pictures come out the exact same year, and they're both going to be big budget movies. They are the two biggest franchises in movie history, arguably.
Yeah.
Marvel and Star Wars. So it's like they could figure it out. You know what? And I don't disagree with you. I think Jojo Rabbit is a different type of movie from Star Wars, but I was watching something recently. They used I don't know if you saw this. They used a lot of CG effects in it because like it's during World War II, right? And they're in a village that gets bombed and stuff.
I haven't seen it. Actually, I might buy it tonight. But look, I was just using it as like the smaller movie example. Sure. It was an example. It might have been a bad example.
But it's like I'm just bringing it up because like I totally forgotten about it. Like stuff like it's like I think they shot it in an actual. I guess where are they? In Germany. I was like, wait, what country does it take place in? They all have English accents. Like a German village, so it's showing them getting bombed by the Allies. Yeah, the Allies. And like they're blowing up buildings, but they don't actually do that, which is pretty wild. And like, yeah, that makes I it's like, oh wow. So it's like, I think we do have to get rid of that concept of like, you like Star Wars is big, but it's like, it's weird. It's like small movies can now do amazing things, and then Mandalorian, Star Wars, which needs all this high budget and stuff, they can do small things. They do amazing things in a small, like it's like just with all this LED wall stuff. And like, you know what? That's the history of Star Wars, right? Like they've used miniatures to make those space battles. So I don't know. It's very doable.
I'm just thinking that it's the time for me, you know, like you still have to make the movies.
The question is though, Taika Waititi has made a success out of movies he thought up and probably had a part in every little step of the way of it.
Yeah.
Does he look at Thor and Star Wars as, well, as much as I love these properties and I've really shown my love for them to the fans, perhaps he's like, okay, I'll write it, I'll direct it, and I'm out. You know what I mean? To allow for that time. I don't know. It's like, is that?
I don't think so. I think he would be all in on it. Because why would you take a movie and then let somebody the hashtag release the Snyder cut? Like, I just don't think a filmmaker would, unless you're Steven Spielberg doing Jurassic Park, letting George Lucas in because it's mostly special effects in the post. It just, well, look, and Thor, maybe he doesn't have to be there for a lot of the post production of Thor, because it is all special effects, and he just has to, and they could transmit it over digitally to his iPad, and he's like, oh, it looks good, because that's the world we live in clearly now, is like he could just get. And look, Peter Jackson on Lord of the Rings, I think the second unit would go out shooting, and Peter Jackson would be on location. They would send him a shot. He'd be like, good, and approve it. And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm just, for me, it's like you're doing two giant movies. Yeah. And clearly you are a filmmaker who you're not, I don't know how to say it. Like, you're going to want to see those things through. How much time does it take I don't know how much time it takes to make a Thor or a Star Wars. I know James Cameron said when he was going to do his Spider-Man movie, and he's like, the reason I turned it down is because I didn't have, I think it was like 2 or 5 years of his life to make a movie. That's what he said. And I mean, to give an Avatar, he takes 30 years to make a movie. But that 20 years ago, 25, whatever it was, he said, I'm not doing this because, I can't remember if he said 2 or 5 years to make a movie. So even if it was the low end of that, which is 2 years, so now you're writing your script now. A year later, you're shooting. A year after that, you're editing and finish editing. That takes us to 2022. And then you start Star Wars. You're not, like, I just don't think it's, I could be dead wrong, but I just don't think he could be the one to do the 2022 movie because of the time frame. Now, the 2024 movie, 2025, whatever it is, that seems really, that's like, and why rush him on either one of the projects too? Yeah. Like, why rush him? So, I don't know, but they haven't taken that 2022 release date off yet. But I'm excited. I think Taika Waititi was, of all of the announcements, is the one that felt the most genuine to me because of his ties to Star Wars as is.
Yeah. It's it's like Taika Waititi. Yeah, I'm in. I think it's just, there's been so many announcements of big names. Yeah.
And like you said, though, he's not the giant name. He's like, he is more George Lucas than anyone else they've gotten. Maybe other than maybe Rian Johnson's the argument. You could say Rian Johnson. J.J. Abrams is Spielberg, not George Lucas. There's a difference.
Oh yes, very much.
Rian Johnson.
How many movies has he made as a love letter to Spielberg?
All of them, like literally all of them. Super 8 is every Spielberg movie. It should just be called Spielberg 8. But which is fine. That's who he is. I'm not saying anything against that. But Rian Johnson, maybe Rian Johnson. But even Rian Johnson is like, I don't know. He maybe he's the closest. But Taika Waititi to me seems the most George Lucas in terms of his imagination is endless.
And you know what? Like in Disney Gallery, you kind of see that where he talks about like, oh, like I just came up in New Zealand and I wanted to be like in comedy, didn't really seem to work out. So while like the Flight of the Conchords guys went off and became famous, because it's wild. If you go back and look at old videos of Flight of the Conchords, like Taika Waititi's in there as a character. It's so funny. And then he got the chance to direct the Flight of the Conchords show, but like in Disney Galleries, he's talking about like I just went and learned. I learned how to do all this stuff. I learned how to make costumes and all that jazz. Or just he's a creative person, and that like rings true to like the George Lucas ideas. Like, well, what if we did it this way that no one else has ever done it before?
And look again. I don't want to say, but James Cameron, when Force Awakens came out, he kind of said it didn't. The Force Awakens didn't have that element to it, and I think I don't want to be too excited about Taika Waititi because of everything that's happening, but it feels more real because he's in the family already. Yeah. And he has that George Lucas quality that I think Star Wars... I think Jon Favreau has that quality as well.
Yeah.
They're very different people. All three of them, like they're all Lucas, Favreau, Waititi. They're all very different, but they all have that quality. And basically it's just they're 12-year-old boys. Or girls. You don't have to be it doesn't have to be male, but they're men. Like it's just they're 12-year-olds with that 12-year-old imagination. We're like, I want to go. And that was, I'll say it again, I've said it a million times. When my nieces and nephew were over and we watched The Rise of Skywalker, their imaginations that week blew up after we watched it. They got sticks, they pretended they were lightsabers, they were playing, they're like, I'm Rey, I'm and like, and like, I'm Luke, I'm Kylo Ren, like. And they were just their imaginations. And I was like, this is crazy. Because before that, they just wanted to play video games and stay inside. I showed them that movie. I'm like, let's go outside. They grab sticks and they're having lightsaber fights outside. I'm like, this is fantastic. And that's really, ultimately, I think, when you think of Star Wars, that's the best part of it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Odds?
It's like The Mandalorian is just proof of like, this is what happens when a genre has shaped a generation's imagination.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, odds?
Sure, let's do it.
Never tell me the odds. Never tell me the odds of Brock Smink appearing on Thumb War.
The odds of Brock Smink watching Thumb War.
Ouch.
0%.
Friday, I don't know when this is going up, but Friday, Unwavering Distances is on YouTube, Brock. Arguably...
Which one is that one? Is that the one I shot and you could hear me breathing?
No, that one will go up eventually. No, that one's not... That one's my favorite one.
Is that the one that was at your, like, the last thing we shot at your old house?
No, we shot this one at your house mostly. This is Andrew and Karen.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to go up Friday for the first time. But thank you for everybody that watched out there. It's got a lot of good views and good feedback, so thank you all. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, odds are brought to us by Patreon. I'm trying to find my list. That was called Stalling. Thank you all our Patreons.
Our wonderful patrons that decide to give us financial support in this trying time of this podcast. No, thank you to all of us, all of you, and this segment is devoted to you. And our Patreons are Heidi Feder, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Mary Kristen Aton, Jeff Wilson, Aaron Quinton, Al Schuler, Phil Stanifor, Jana Rubio, Rachel Alford, Rural Farm Boy, Sooner Thrawn, Austin Scher, Scott D.,
Andy Higgins, Josh Price, Mason Hope, Matt W., Rez, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, D. Raven, Spencer, Gleek Play 1, Kayla Davis, Automated Joy, Charlotte, Jericho Kane, 4-Leaf Clover, The Sabers Owned by Girls, that's Girls with Sabers, and Ken at the Den of Nerds, because I refuse to say Josh's name out loud.
All of a sudden, I get alerts on Facebook about Den of Nerds stuff.
Yeah, me too. What's up with that?
Thank you. Facebook definitely changed something because there's stuff that's weird.
I get notifications for things as like I'm in a group, and then it's like you're not in a group. Do you want to join the group? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But thanks for asking, I guess. I don't know. But thank you all of our patrons. Means a lot to us.
Yeah, thanks. You're the best.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit. Is it a really good movie or just a good movie?
I think it's a very good movie. I want to watch it again.
There's a behind the scenes iTunes extra.
Movie, but it's like he makes Hitler lovable somehow.
Yeah.
For like a period of the movie. So it's like that's something. And the kids in it are really funny. The friend Jojo's friend, the chubby kid, is really funny in that movie.
I do want to see it, so I'll probably pick it up and buy it. Here, I think I take a picture. All right. Ready for the odds? Here we go.
Yeah.
Today's odds. Thank you all. Patreon. The odds of Taika Waititi movie feature. The odds of the Taika Waititi movie featuring characters or connections to characters we already know and love in the Star Wars universe. Is he giving us that Aura Singh movie that we've all been clamoring for?
Say it again.
The Cantina Band, the motion picture. The odds of Taika Waititi's film or movie featuring characters or connections to characters we already know in Star Wars.
I'm going to just have to go 100% on that because I think regardless of what they say, there's going to be some type of connection to Star Wars. And like it's just like, oh, here's a Wookiee. It's like, let me tell you the legend of Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. There's a legend. Do you think he'll be in the movie? That's not an odd, but do you think he'll put himself in the movie as an Ewok? Or
Taika?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I am getting myself an agent to pitch a Star Wars movie, and I'm going to tell you off camera because I came up with something brilliant. You listening, Kathleen?
Are you hearing? Do you listen to this? If Taika isn't in his movie, someone that he like Reese Darby's probably gonna be in the Taika Waititi movie for sure. But yeah, no, I 100%. There's gonna be some. I don't think we're gonna see Luke or whatever, or maybe a reference to Luke, and that's it. Like that's it, you know, like. Who the Luke Skywalker or a Millennium Falcon drop? It's you can't. There's going to be something.
I'm gonna go full Brock. I think we will, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, maybe the mandate is don't mention it. Imagine this whole thing is about Rey's granddaughter, Bray. Next time, Leia, Rhea.
Martha.
How do you know that name?
You know that name?
Swear to me.
Different Batman.
Is it? So, like, are we gonna get like? Is Robert Pattinson's Batman still gonna have like that Christian Bale-esque growl? Like, hey, Batman. Do you know my voice? Rachel. Christopher Nolan is a hell of a filmmaker, though. Dunkirk was great, and it's like 90 minutes of just awesome.
Yeah.
It's short. It proves what I keep saying. It doesn't have to be long. The odds of Taika Waititi's film getting a sequel, but not directed by him. Is this going to launch a new Star Wars saga like The New Hope, where we just get new directors coming in to pick up the slack?
I think this is another thing that they continue to say, like, oh, we're not going to do connecting things. I'm like, yes, you are. Like, it's like, if the movie is a success, you're going to do it again. Like,
absolutely.
If Solo had made money, we would have had a Solo 2 by now. Like,
if Solo had made money,
now.
Exactly. A lot of things would be different if Solo made a lot of money and if Last Jedi didn't have the backlash it had.
The success of Star Wars is based on the fact that they continue to make movies. So it's like, but I like that idea that like, just because you created it isn't your project. But again, they kind of tried that with this last trilogy and that didn't work out ideally.
What about this? What if he's like, I have an idea, here's my movie, and I have an idea for 2 more, make them if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Your mic just went bye-bye. I'm not going to cut this out either.
Check it. There we go.
I like that he is. I like that he knows who Dave Filoni is now too. That makes me feel really good. You know what I mean? Like, because think about it. He could be like, I'm doing this movie. I don't know if that's a New Zealand accent or not, but he's like, I'm going to do the movie. And
there could be a really good reason to like make a whole bunch of movies all at once. Like perhaps, I mean, I think they have to put something out and it has to be a success. But like, imagine Taika pitches this idea that is going to be for sure 4 movies. But like one of the caveats is that they have to shoot it all at once, like in a year, and he can't do all of it. But like perhaps the cast spans, like something like that. Maybe I could see that happening. But the odds, I haven't even said a number. I'm gonna say, let me go full Brock on it. I haven't done that in a while. I don't think I never really go full Brock recently.
show him my shirt.
Look at that chubby face.
By the way, Mary Athon sent us a picture. I should have posted it. She got a But I Do mug.
Oh, awesome.
And it's awesome. So thank you for that. That thing is selling very well. So thank you everybody for buying a But I Do. It's the greatest thing.
I hate that one. Like I like people supporting us. I really hate that. Every time you do it, I'm like,
But I do. But I do. And it cut out of the movie just because we said it. Mm-hmm. That's why. I'm going to go 51%. Wait, 49%.
oh
Yeah, look at odds. Final odds today. The odds of Jermaine Clement having a cameo.
100%.
Really? He's not in Thor Ragnarok, is he?
No, but like,
Is he in Jojo Rabbit?
I don't think so. He hasn't really been in anything since What We Do in the Shadows, but like it's Star Wars.
By the way, I'm not crying. I'm just cutting onions. I'm making a lasagna for one is one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest lines in history. Also,
if it's not Jermaine, it's like definitely like one of like oh god, what's her first name? Shaw, Rachel?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Shaw.
Or like I said, Ridge Darby or Brett. I forget what his last
Welcome
name
to
is.
Jumanji. Huh?
Yeah.
That was a good impression.
You know what? Maybe not Jermaine. Definitely the woman that's in Thor, and also
No, that's not the question. The question is Jermaine Clement. I'm not crying. It's just raining on my face.
I think, regardless, I think Star Wars is Star Wars. You can say whatever you want about Marvel, Star Wars. I would also venture to say that like he might be in the next Thor. Like I think everyone's sort of like Thor. I don't know.
Could you have seen him as Thor. Jeff Goldblum in Thor 3? I feel like he could have been good. I'm not saying anything against George. Do not hate me. I love Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. Yes, but he could have, I think, been awesome in that role.
I think it would have been a totally different character, though.
But still,
as much as he can do it, it's like...
Yeah, but it's still amazing, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a different type of mate. That's what I mean, though. It's like, he's great. I think he should be everywhere.
Because that's the problem. It's sort of like Goldblum is a great actor, but like he's gotten to a point where it's like, well, that's Goldblum.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just Goldblum. It's like Nick Cage. Like, here's Nick Cage being crazy.
What's the movie that he's in? The Eagle movie? Jermaine Clement? What's that?
Eagle versus.
I like that one. I like that movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in forever. I was obsessed with that trailer too for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a lasagna for one. It's so stupid. It's just the greatest line of all time. If you haven't seen that episode of Flight of the Conchords, I don't know which one it is, but he gets broken up with and he starts crying and he sings a song. That's our odds for today.
Hooray! Thank you for the odds.
Now we're gonna go to Hollow News. Da 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 da. Hollow News is making lasagna for one. By the way, Brock. Before we get to the Hollow News, your WGR made you some wonderful May the 4th treats.
Yes. Did you like that?
I liked it. You should talk about it on the news.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's news time. I'm gonna try my mic. Have fun. Da 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 da.
The Hollow news, the news you need to know. As we all know, it was the May the 4th, and I have a wonderful woman in my life that made me dinner one night. And it wasn't specifically things that looked like Star Wars, but she gave it a Star Wars spin. So it was Boba Fettuccine Alfredo, and the noodles were colored to what he looks like. She almost put red peppers in to match the stuff. I was like, yeah. And then Leia, cinnamon buns. Cinnamon Leia buns. I was like,
Oh, so
yeah,
my mic was off. They all look tasty, but the Leia buns looked perfect.
yeah. I'll tell her that she'll be very impressed. I noticed that if I compliment her food, she will constantly make me more.
And tell her that she could come and give curbside delivery to my house. All right, the news.
Thank you very much to my wonderful girlfriend, Reham WGR. Put on to the Hollow News. Dave Filoni, we love him, and he did an interview where he talked about he was asked, he wasn't talking about it, he was asked, would they do a season 5 season 5 of Rebels, because Clone Wars just finally wrapped up. Would he do it? And he said, well, while speaking with Deadline, he was asked the possibility of it happening. He didn't mince words. He said that he doesn't have an intention of releasing another outing for the Disney XD animated show Rebels. He explained it told the complete story he intended to, so that there's really no reason for an extra year. And this is a quote for him. No, not really. I was really happy with how the series turned out, and I feel like we got to a complete story there. It was one of the things that really drove me to thinking, well, it would be great to have a complete feeling like that for Clone Wars. So now we have both, and it's really great. I think that there's always potential for stories that involve the characters from Rebels, which is maybe a better way to put it. They've all earned their place in the galaxy, so to speak. So I'm sure there's some more of them. I'm sure there's some more of them to do. So that's exciting. But yes, an excellent move, because I think the story of the Rebels is kind of at a hold. But we keep seeing their characters pop up, and obviously we want more Ahsoka. And this one was sent to us. I received it on another thing, but James, I believe, Rural Farm Boy, sent this to you. Here's a fun story of stupidity in our own good old Canada, Lethbridge. If you don't know where Lethbridge is, it's in Alberta. Oh, sorry, my mistake, Rural. You don't get the credit for this. It was Sooner Thrawn. I swear, I feel like we talk about them in the same. Sooner Thrawn sent this to us. On May the 4th, police services in Lethbridge stopped at outside of a store. It was a Star Wars themed bar. I don't know if it's always themed or just for the what have you, but because they can't allow anyone in for fun, they had someone dressed up as a stormtrooper and stand outside. Unfortunately, the police took the plastic gun that this woman who was in the stormtrooper uniform was wearing as an actual gun and had her at gunpoint. Everything's all right. I don't believe the woman's arrested officially. I think she got brought in, but that was about it. But they said they couldn't hear what she was saying when she was yelling, "It's a plastic gun," through the plastic helmet she was wearing. But yes, so that's a little unfortunate. I'm sure everything got cleared up, but like, maybe we just sort of calm down on, especially on May the 4th. But thank you to our police for doing their job to the best of their abilities. And since we're on the story of stupid ideas, because of the upcoming election coming, Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, his campaign is starting to kick off, even in these times where we had to stay home. This week, his campaign manager tweeted out, "For nearly 3 years, we have been building a juggernaut campaign," and then brackets Death Star. "It's firing on all cylinders: data, digital, TV, political surrogates, coalitions, etc. In a few days, we start pressing fire for the first time," and including in the tweet was a GIF of the Death Star firing out. Unfortunately, I think his name is Brad Parscale, the campaign manager for Donald Trump, didn't really think about the fact that it's called the Death Star, and he just compared Donald Trump's campaign to that of a massive battle station that blew up worlds. Man, some choices this week have been interesting, and this has been your Hollow News.
Hollow News. Yeah. I've decided this is going to go up on Friday. You cool with that?
Sure.
Top 5.
Top 5. What's the top 5 for today, James?
Today's top 5. Whoa, hold on a second. I have to change our framing. I can't. Okay, forget it. Top 5 today are top 5 live action stories we would like to see Dave Filoni head.
Perfection.
Top 5 Star Wars tales we would like to be told by Sir Dave Filoni. He's been knighted. Sir David Filoni, my number 5. By the way, if you have not seen, and you might not be a fan, but if you have not seen When the Galaxy Listens on YouTube, it is about Rebel Force Radio, but it was directed and shot and edited by our friend Sheldon Norton. If you have not seen it, you got to check it out. Dave Filoni, if you watch the director's cut, Dave Filoni is all over it talking about their podcast and Star Wars, and it's a great watch. They put it up. He put it up last year on May the 4th. It's still up there. I watched it on Monday. I recommend everybody watching it. It's a great documentary. Even if you're not a fan of that podcast necessarily, I think it just kind of shows you Star Wars fandom at its best, frankly. It's a really good documentary. Number 5, Dave Filoni shows we would like to see him lead. My number 5, Old Rex. I'm old and I'm Rex, and oh, remember when I had to save Ahsoka from Jesse? It's just him sitting in an old rocking chair.
My number 5 is, I don't know how to phrase this exactly, because as much as I love this team directors they have on Mandalorian, I think Filoni should have a full season where he's in charge. Perhaps maybe like some kind of spin-off Disney Plus movie that he is, and it has to do with the Mandalorian War. That's I think, because like obviously he's not going anywhere with the Mandalorian. He's gonna be there for a while. I often, like, after watching that documentary, do you get the sense that he's just always on set?
Yep. Well, I think it was like Favreau, and then right under Favreau was Filoni.
Right.
I think he was a producer on it, like heavily involved with Favreau. So that would explain. Yeah, but he was, when he's talking to, what's her name, Cara Dune, and Gina Carano, and she's like, I have a shoulder pad. He goes, it's actually more than a shoulder pad. It's... my number 4 is Sabine and Ahsoka. Sure, it's based on an animated show, but I like to see it on live action. I just want that story to be told. I don't know what's going on there. I want to see more of that Sabine. And Ahsoka, I have the perfect cast for it as well.
Oh.
Tia Sakara as Sabine, and Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka.
My number 4 is going to be the return of Ezra. I know that's probably what an Ahsoka and
well, mine's a prequel to yours.
Yeah, Ahsoka and Sabine story would roughly be about, but like maybe make that, and then they have another show, and they all kind of intermingle in some way. Because guess what? Ahsoka is further up in my list.
Sure, mine too, maybe. My number 3.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. I'm changing my 3 to Cad Bane as well.
Just Cad Bane.
Move.
Unless, of course, Cad Bane is in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But probably not. So, yeah, Cad Bane. My number 2, which just, the third, you got to complete the trilogy. Ewoks Part 3. The Caravan of Endor. That's what you call this one. You got to complete the trilogy. That's what I want. I want a Dave Filoni Ewoks. Look, we got blurgs, which is freaking amazing. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if you've seen that interview with Filoni when he's like, I'm reading the scripts that John Favreau gives me the scripts, and I'm like, Life Day. All right, we're doing this. Okay. It's like, John Favreau's literally just like, what do I love about Star Wars? All of this really bad stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's what I think. Sorry, I think that's one thing that people forget is the bad, cheesy parts of Star Wars is what we all love. You know what I mean? Exactly. It might not be at the forefront of our minds what we brag to people about, but we love that cheese.
My number 2 is Hondo. I don't know what that show would be, but I feel like Hondo is going to appear somewhere soon, but outside of the Disney parks. But it's like I think right now Filoni just needs to make all of his characters that he thought up like the beginning of like a big part of some live action show. That'd be great.
Hondo
Naka.
My number 1, Ahsoka.
My number 1, Ahsoka.
I mean, if he's not doing Ahsoka, what the hell is wrong with everybody? Yeah. It's just give him the Ahsoka show. It's what clearly it's what he wants. Clearly.
And like the crazy thing was like until you said Sabine and Ahsoka, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess Ahsoka would be in that show because I want that, but then I also want an Ahsoka like alone show.
Yeah, no, mine are 2 very different shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely all for make Ahsoka happen.
Quite frankly, I was just gonna straight up say for number 5 is like just let him make any movie he wants.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
I think he's earned it. Also, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iHeart Radio, Google Play Podcast. I don't know, all these different podcasts. We're there.
Wherever you listen to find podcasts.
Wherever. Anyway, let us know what your top 5 shows are for Day 4.
Yeah.
We want to know. Also, we are on Patreon right there. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah. Do it.
Friday Night Live. Friday Night Lights, Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, he went the movie, not the TV show.
Well, I couldn't think of Kyle Chandler there. I couldn't think his name was on the he's a great actor, but he should be in Star Wars as the dad.
That's the coach. That's the coach. The clone football player.
Well, you gotta do what you're gonna do. He was in The Spectacular Now with Miles Teller. And he
was in Manchester in the Sea.
Super 8.
Manchester by the Sea.
Super 8. Bloodline the Show. He's in
Clear Eyes. Full blasters.
I feel like he was in a Godzilla movie, but I'm not sure. I feel like that, like he would be like, I need to do a big blockbuster, and he would choose Godzilla, and he'd be like, you made the wrong call. That's so like I'm like he's like the actor that's like Willem Dafoe. I don't know if he's like I want to do a blockbuster, so I chose Spider-Man. I'm like good idea, and then you see like Jeremy Irons is like Dungeons and Dragons. You're like oh dude, sorry man, you picked the wrong one. Well, you never know what's gonna work. Wasn't that Dungeons and Dragons movie with second Jimmy Olsen from Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman? Where's Phil? Phil's standing for it. He'll let us know because Dean Cain is his favorite Superman, so he will.
Isn't like what's the one Wayans brother?
Damon?
No, not Damon Wayans. The younger
Keenan
one.
Ivory? Oh, it's not Keenan Ivory Wayans.
No.
Remember the Keenan Ivory Wayans show? Sean Wayans?
Yeah. I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
I've never seen that movie, to be honest, so it might be great. I just know it didn't make money. No. I'm also sure it's not great. You always feel that you're like, oh, that actor went for it and he picked the wrong script. You're so close.
Yeah.
We were this close to greatness. Ben Mendelsohn was in The Dark Knight Rises, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great in that movie. That was his best performance.
He's just that's...
Yeah, he's like a mobster.
No, he's in the movie. I was confusing him for the guy at the beginning that gets thrown out of the plane by Bane.
No, he's the guy later on who's like a mobster with the rich. I don't know who he is. He's in the movie.
Yeah,
though.
I gotta rewatch that movie.
Yeah, he's the Eric Roberts of Rises. He plays the Eric Roberts from The Dark Knight in Rises. I think that's what he's. Yeah. Eric Roberts, tremendous actor. His greatest roles are Dark Knight, Mr. Brightside, and every movie you could buy for $4.99 on VHS at Walmart in 1999. All right, this is episode 168 of the Rebel Scum podcast. I'm James. He's Brock.
Hi.
You were always scum.
Oh, Rebel Scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.